Nobody told her that those cookies were creepy. Nobody told her not to do that. Like, that's what you serve to your guests.
These are the cookies everyone's talking about that has the ultrasound picture of baby. This cookie says baby. Looks like we have some flowers and then a little shirt.
And those damn cookies, guys, those cookies, they weren't even cute. They weren't even cute. It looked like a baby's head was crowning. Nasty, creepy as F.
I really wish people would stop giving a fuck about her, because the longer we give a fuck about her, the more she thinks she's relevant, and she keeps just posting, and I got the ick. And also, it's really weird that she's naming her Aurora when that was the name that her and Nick picked out.
Every name carries meaning, but some names carry far more weight than others. When Gypsy Rose Blanchard announced the name of her unborn daughter, Aurora Raina Urker, it wasn't just a baby name. It was a statement, a name steeped in symbolism. It's tied to Gypsy's infamous past, half-fractured present, and a future overshadowed by uncertainty. But as Gypsy prepares for motherhood, cracks in her carefully curated narratives she's built are beginning to show, and they point to more than just a name. In the months since her release from prison, Gypsy has tried to paint a picture of redemption and renewal. At the heart of this new chapter is Ken Urker, her on-again, off-again boyfriend turned partner. Their relationship rekindled amidst a whirlwind of media attention and lifetime TV cameras seemed poised to bring Gypsy the fairy tale she's always chased. But not all is as it seems. Recent events have raised questions about the state of their relationship. While Ken appeared at Gypsy's highly publicized baby shower, insiders report he had been pulling away. His car, once a regular sight at Gypsy's home, has reportedly only been spotted there twice in the past week and a half.
Ken was just honestly tired of playing Captain Save-A-Ho because all he does is run to her rescue because she says silly things online, so the internet attacks her in public everywhere. He also said that she embarrasses her, which I can see. She's literally posting videos of, you know you want me back, directed towards her ex-husband, and then making videos about how she's frustrated that her ex-husband is moving on. I can see where you're coming from, bro.
What once seemed like a united front now feels like a relationship teetering on the edge of separation. And Ken's distant demeanor at the baby shower? A spectacle complete with 4D ultrasound cookies and Lifetime's cameras rolling did little to suggest otherwise. Then there's the name itself, Aurora Raina Urker. At first glance, it's enchanting, almost Disney-like, but the connections are far more complex. Aurora is tied to Gypsy's past with Nick Godejohn, the man she conspired with to kill her mother, and even the town where she lived with Didi Blanchard.
So it looks like Gypsy Rose named her baby Aurora Raina Urker. Whatever. I still can't pronounce that last name. But Aurora Raina. Doesn't really roll off the tongue, but it looks like she named her baby girl after the grandmothers on both sides. You know, Raina is Ken's mother, so of course that grandmother is in there. And then Aurora, as you all know, is the actual name of Sleeping Beauty. So it looks like she even got a little bit of Didi in there. How sweet is she? Naming her baby after both of their actual biological grandmothers. Aurora, Sleeping Beauty. Crazy, right? She really is into this whole fairy tale Disney princess thing. Just saying.
Raina honoring Ken's mother seems like an effort to tether him emotionally at the time when their relationship feels increasingly unstable. This isn't just a story about a baby name or a fractured relationship. It's a window into Gypsy's ongoing struggle to control her narrative, as their relationship with Ken shows signs of unraveling and her past continues to cast a long shadow. One question looms: is Gypsy building a new life, or is she just rewriting the same old stories? There's a lyrical quality to it, but when you dig deeper, the name isn't just about authentics. It holds layers of meaning, some that are obvious and others that require a closer look.
Like, actually, I really wish people would stop giving a fuck about her, because the longer we give a fuck about her, the more she thinks she's relevant, and she keeps just posting, and I got the ick. And also, it's really weird that she's naming her Aurora when that was the name that her and Nick picked out. That's all I have to say about it. She's fucking weird. Let's leave her alone so she could just live her life in peace, because there's something mentally unwell, understandably, about her. But I just have a very weird feeling that at this point, I don't want to engage anymore.
For Gypsy, a woman whose life has been marked by trauma, manipulation, and an almost obsessive attachment to fairy tales, Aurora is more than a name. It's a statement, but the statement it makes is, well, complicated. The name immediately calls to mind the image of a Disney princess, a young woman trapped in an enchanted slumber until she's awakened by true love's kiss. It's a name that fits perfectly into Gypsy's Disney-obsessed persona. Over the years, we've seen how deeply she's clung to the idea of fairy tales. From her time under her mother Didi's oppressive control to her carefully curated public persona post-prison, Gypsy has leaned heavily on the imagery of magical worlds and happily ever afters. It's as though she's constantly trying to rewrite her own story, to cast herself as a princess who's overcome impossible odds to find happiness.
Gypsy Rose was always obsessed with Cinderella. We've seen her in the costumes, we've seen her with the wigs on, we've seen her in Cinderella's castle, we saw all of that, right? We know she has an obsession with Cinderella. But now think about Cinderella for a second. Cinderella had a father who was never there. Cinderella had a mother who was dead. Cinderella had an evil stepmother. And Cinderella ended up with the Prince Charming after she was imprisoned by it all. Isn't that kind of crazy? That at the end of the day, Gypsy Rose made sure that her life was just like Cinderella. Except I don't think it's the fairy tale she thought it was going to be. But it totally explains her obsession with Cinderella. Dad is gone, Mom is dead, evil stepmom, and here's Prince Charming coming in. Just saying.
But here's where things get complicated. Aurora isn't just a dreamy princess name. It's also tied to the darkest chapters of Gypsy's life. Back when Gypsy was in a relationship with Nick Godejon, the man she conspired with to kill her mother, they reportedly talked about naming a child Aurora. This isn't just a name plucked from a Disney movie. It's a name that's tangled up with her relationship with a man who played a central role in one of the most shocking crimes in recent memory. So why choose it now? Is this Gypsy's way of reclaiming a name that's haunted her, turning it into a symbol of new beginnings? Or is it another example of her inability or unwillingness to fully let go of her past? Whatever her reasoning, the choice raises questions about how much of her history she's truly dealt with and how much still lingers in her present. Aurora and Didi? The connections don't stop there. Aurora is also the name of a town in Missouri where Gypsy and her mother live. For anyone who knows Gypsy's story, her relationship with Didi Blanchard was nothing short of toxic. Didi manipulated and controlled Gypsy's life, creating a facade of perpetual illness to garner sympathy and financial support from those around her. This dynamic ultimately led to Didi's murder, a crime that Gypsy orchestrated with Nick. So why invoke this name again? On one hand, it might be an unconscious nod to her past, a way of grappling with the complex relationship she had with her mother. On the other hand, it could suggest that Gypsy is still tethered to her history in ways she might not even realize. For someone who has expressed a desire to move forward and create a new life, the choice of Aurora feels oddly regressive, as though she's keeping one foot firmly planted in the narrative that made her infamous. A gesture of unity or strategic calculation. Now, let's turn to the middle name, Raina. On the surface, it seems like a kind and thoughtful choice. After all, it's reportedly a tribute to Ken's mother. Including the name of a grandmother is a common way to honor family and foster a sense of connection.
Okay, so remember I told y'all months ago that Gypsy and Urk were naming their baby Aurora, which is that was the name she had with Nick for their hypothetical daughter. Ken's mom was on a live and she said, oh yeah, they're so excited for the baby and actually they're naming her after me. And they're naming her Raina, R-A-I-N-A, Raina. She goes, oh no, the middle name. It'll be the middle name. So I guess they're no longer going with Aurora Rose, which I really like. So they're going with Aurora Raina. Aurora Raina Urker. So they're going with Aurora Raina Urker.
But let's not ignore the possibility that this choice might have deeper, more calculated motives. If you follow Gypsy's story, you know she has a history of using relationships to her advantage. With Didi, it was just about survival and control. With Nick, it was about escape. And with Ken, it's hard not to see echoes of those same patterns. Naming her child after Ken's mother might be a way to cement his involvement. Was this a collaborative decision, or did Gypsy make the choice unilaterally? If Ken had little to no say in the matter, it could signal a deeper imbalance in their dynamic, a sign that Gypsy is once again taking control of the narrative with or without her partner's input. Now let's talk about those rumors, because they're impossible to ignore. Nina, a vocal critic of Gypsy, claims to have inside knowledge about what's really going on. According to her, Ken's car, which used to be a regular feature at Gypsy's house, has barely been seen there in the past week and a half. 2 visits, she says, and both were brief.
For all of the people that are saying I'm wrong and Gypsy is still with Ken, just save this video and come back and apologize and tell me I'm queen when you see I'm right. And Gypsy, this is for you, because I want you to know that I know for a fact. Ken's car the last week and a half only been at your house 2 times for a very short period of time. When he was staying at your house and his car was always there up until then. What happened the last week and a half? That Oscar video. So now you know I know for a fact, okay? So you can lie to all these people on the internet, Bookie, but I know. Check that. Like I said, save this video and come back and tell me I'm queen. And bow down.
For a man who was reportedly spending so much time at Gypsy's house before, this is a noticeable shift. It suggests that something significant has changed in their relationship dynamic. And then there's the mention of Oscar video. While details of this video remain unclear, Nina's tone suggests that it played a pivotal role in whatever has caused this apparent distancing. So what happened? Did Ken finally reach a breaking point? Was there an argument or an incident that pushed him to pull back? Nina's claims add fuel to the fire, making it harder to dismiss the idea that Ken might be reconsidering his role in Gypsy's life and in the life of their child. Taken together, the choice of Aurora Raina as a name speaks volumes about Gypsy's state of mind. On one hand, it seems like an attempt to create something beautiful and meaningful, a name that ties together her past, her present, and her aspirations for the future. But on the other hand, it feels heavy with unresolved baggage. And when you consider the broader context, Ken's apparent distancing, the ongoing public scrutiny, and Gypsy's history of manipulating narratives, it's hard not to see this as yet another chapter in a story that's far messier than it appears on the surface. What does this mean for the baby? For a child who hasn't even been born yet, the weight of this name is significant. It's a name steeped in history, drama, and unresolved conflict. And for Gypsy, it's a reminder that moving forward isn't just about choosing a new name or creating a new image. It's about doing the hard, uncomfortable work of truly confronting her past. Gypsy has a track record of manipulation and control. This isn't just speculation. It's a pattern that's been observed time and time again, and it stretches back years. From her relationship with her mother to her prison-era romance with Nick Godjon, and now to this complicated situation with Ken Urker, it's clear that Gypsy often operates with a certain level of self-interest and strategic planning, and that pattern, it's not a good one. Take her relationship with her mother, Didi Blanchard. For instance, while there is no denying that Gypsy was a victim of Didi's abuse, particularly her horrifying medical abuse and isolation, Gypsy's eventual actions showed an ability to manipulate others when it suited her. She didn't just escape Didi's control, she orchestrated her mother's murder.
You went through the most horrific abuse, but why did you not expose your mum's lies to the police? Why did you take it as far as what you did?
Honestly, I didn't know the extent of the abuse myself. Some things were very obvious, like the physical abuse. But there was other things in the medical abuse side of it that if it wasn't very visual, like my mother said I had cancer. You can't see cancer, and my mother was telling people, myself and others, that I was on cancer medication. So there was things like those little things that I didn't even know until upon arrest after the crime.
Have you got any regrets?
Oh yeah, I have lots of regrets, lots of things that I would change. Obviously the big one, that goes without saying, but that's on my conscience. I have to live with that on a daily basis. Yes, I did my time. I did 8.5 years, but that was a prison sentence. The emotional and mental regret that I have to live with goes for the rest of my life.
It's undeniable that Gypsy played a leading role in the planning. She leaned heavily on the narrative of victimhood, which has since become a cornerstone of her public persona. Fast forward to today. Ken's reduced presence in her life could be a clear sign that he's starting to see through the fairy tale Gypsy's been trying to sell. He re-entered her life at a highly opportune time, when she was gaining public attention, signing media deals, and crafting a new image for herself as a reformed and rehabilitated woman. Was this a genuine rekindling of love, or was it convenience on both sides? Either way, his apparent withdrawal suggests that he may no longer be buying into the carefully curated narrative. And speaking of fairy tales, let's talk about the baby shower. If you're picturing a heartfelt, intimate celebration, think again. This wasn't just a baby shower. It was a production. Lifetime cameras were everywhere, capturing what was supposed to be a joyful event. But if you peel back the glittering pink and white decorations, the cracks in the facade are glaring obvious.
I have a few thoughts about Gypsy's baby shower pictures. Why does it look so empty? Like, it doesn't look like a party. Like, just like props are like randomly put up places, like random ass decorations. Like, it doesn't look fun. It just looks very boring. I don't see any of her family there. No one, just like a bunch of random ass people. Just because Ken was at the baby shower, it does not mean that they are still together. That's not what that means. And I believe Nina. Nina has been right again and again and again, and she has very reliable sources. Looks like almost like she paid like random people just to go and sit down. The cookies with the sonogram picture, it just doesn't look right. It looks very staged. Give that comforting, like, oh, it's a baby shower. It's propped, like it was just for filming. I don't see anyone familiar there except for Ken, but that's it. I don't see her sister, I don't see Krusty, I don't see Rod, I don't see nobody. So,
for starters, the invitation billed it as Gypsy and Ken's baby shower. But when you look at the event itself, it's clear who the real star was. All the signage and focus seemed to be on Gypsy. It wasn't a celebration of their impending parenthood as a couple. It was Gypsy's baby shower, period. Ken, by all appearances, seemed like an afterthought, a prop rather than an equal partner. This imbalance raises a question. How involved was Ken in this event? Was he there willingly, or did he feel obligated to show up because Lifetime's cameras? This imbalance raises a question. How involved was Ken in this event? Was he there willingly, or did he feel obligated to show up because of Lifetime's cameras? Considering the speculation that Ken has been pulling away in recent weeks, it's hard to ignore the possibility that his attendance was more about optics than genuine enthusiasm. What's even more troubling is the sheer level of performance involved in this baby shower. Gypsy isn't just celebrating her pregnancy, she's putting on a show. Let's talk about those cookies for a moment. Yes, cookies. Not just any cookie, but cookies with a 4D ultrasound image of her unborn baby printed on them.
Alright, so we know Ken allegedly broke up with Gypsy Rose Blanchard. However, today was her baby shower as well. Let's take a look. So we're going to start off strong with her cookies. And yes, this is actually her cookies. Here is another photo of them. I have a lot of questions. Yeah, the photo wall. Welcome to Gypsy's baby shower. This kind of backs up the rumor that Ken did break up with her, because why would it only say Gypsy's baby shower? Some more treats. These ones are normal and very cute. Obviously, it's a girl.
Think about that for a second. Guests were literally eating cookies with her baby's face on them. Who does that? More importantly, why? This isn't the kind of gesture you make for close friends and family. It's a stunt, plain and simple. It screams, look at me. Look at how special and unique my celebration is. It's the kind of over-the-top performative behavior that makes you question, is any of this genuine, or is it all just part of Gypsy's ongoing effort to keep herself in the spotlight? But when you strip away the filters and the fairy tale narrative, what's left? A woman who hasn't done the work to confront her past, who manipulates those around her, and who continues to play the victim even as she moves through life with a level of privilege most people could only dream of.